Let's try this one instead. Oh my god. I don't know why I'm having so many problems on Sunday trying to stream. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, I pay for good internet. Like, I'm paying for quality internet, but for some stupid reason, I have trouble with streaming. Hey, Fantastic Four novels, how are you? How is everybody doing? Is this a lot better? Hopefully this is better for everybody. Good, Joey. Good, man. Hopefully I'm not buffering too much here. So yeah, shoot me some questions in the chat. I will be more than happy to answer them. That is the whole point of Sunday streaming. That is the whole point of doing this video. So yeah, it's good. It's going good. Like I've already said, super busy. The reason I'm doing this so early is because of the fact that it's way easier on me. What's up, man? I love your videos. I was thinking of picking up The Walking Dead Omnis and was just wondering what you thought of the binding. I personally haven't had any issues with the binding as far as the Walking Dead omnibuses go. Mine have held up really well through multiple readings. Have held up multiple through multiple readings, and I haven't had any issues with it. Now, I have heard some people complain about them, saying, "Oh, it's a bit, there's a lot of problems with the binding. The binding's not that great. The binding snapped on me, things like that." I, again, have not had that experience as other people, but that varies. That can vary. Sometimes you get a melon. Sometimes you get bad books. I've gotten, whew, in about 5, 6 years of really seriously collecting and doing this stuff, I've gotten probably about 4 bad books in the past. It happens. You run the risk, and it's a low percentage of books, but it does happen. I got a Thor Walter Simonson omnibus a few years ago. The binding was piss poor. The binding was terrible. I also got a Colossal Conan. The binding was terrible on that too. So it does happen. Have you seen my super cool food reviews by Joey's World Tour? No, I have not. I'll have to check that out after I'm done. But yeah, like I've said, send me some questions in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. Have I read Urasawa's Monster? I haven't. And I had the complete editions or the perfect editions for a while, but I was running with some problems with money, and I had to sell them. And by the way, those of you that I sound a little bit weird today, I am a bit like congested. I'm pretty sure it's allergies. I'm hoping it's allergies because I really can't afford to get sick right now. Especially when you do YouTube videos, because if you sound funny on YouTube, people will call you out on it. So it's weird. Have I read, but yeah, back on topic. Have I read Urasawa's Monster? I haven't. I am a huge fan of Urasawa. I love Pluto, and I love 20th Century Boys. In fact, as far as manga goes right now, I just got the complete box set for Full Metal Alchemist, and I'm going to be doing a preview video of that later on in the week. And I've gotten this question, and people have asked me, what's the point of the preview videos? The preview videos are a way for me to kind of show off some really cool content without giving you a full review, simply because of the fact that it takes a while for me to read certain books. So if I give you a preview video, you can see, oh, okay, this book looks like this book has this inside of it, this book has this content, without me fully giving you like a buy, borrow, or pass review on it. So that's the point of those. And I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't see what's wrong with me doing preview videos. Somebody was like, why are you doing preview videos? There's no point to them. I'm like, well, don't you like looking at my videos? Don't you like looking at cool, nice stuff? I do. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I haven't. How do you feel about the character Slapstick? Sorry, but forgot that one word. I don't know what the character Slapstick is. I'm sorry. Do you think we will ever see a reprint of the first 3 Captain Americas by Ed Brubaker omnibus? Really good question. I'm not 100% certain that we'll see a reprint of the 3 Captain America Ed Brubaker omnibuses, especially since Amazon leaked solicitations for what we're getting in the next few months, leading up to, if I'm not mistaken, probably up to June of next year, and there wasn't any. What I think we are more than likely going to be getting soon are Ultimate Collections. We'll probably be getting Ultimate Collections of the Captain America stuff, simply because that's an easier way for them to put it out. Trade paperbacks, nice little format. They're bigger. They contain a huge chunk of the story, and it's a cheaper cost than printing out these huge, massive hardcovers. And Marvel only has so much money to do reprints on a lot of their omnibuses. What's really fascinating, actually, if you look at the leaks from Amazon, is they are pumping out a shit ton of classic Spider-Man stuff in the next few months. A lot of Spider-Man stuff. It's almost like they've got a movie coming out next year. So that's really, really interesting to me. Do I have any Usagi Yojimbo, and how do you like them? I don't have any Usagi Yojimbo. I've been wanting to get into that series for a long time. I just haven't dove into it. What is your favorite MCU movie? My favorite MCU movie currently, and probably will always be, is the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Absolutely love the first Guardians of the Galaxy, man. It's one of those movies that it's one of those movies that no matter how bad I'm feeling, or no matter how depressed I am, or no matter how down I am, I instantly put that on and I feel a lot better. It's such a fun ride all the way through, and it's such a great movie. I might actually put that on as I work on other stuff today. Started reading Irredeemable last night. Have to say, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? Oh my goodness, it's so good. Irredeemable is so incredible. And I have to give a thanks to Jess for turning me on to that series. For those of you that don't know, Jess is one of the live stream guys. Have I read Paper Girls? I haven't. I'm a huge fan of Brian K. Vaughan's, but I haven't sat down and read Paper Girls simply because I'm waiting for a nice little hardcover edition of it. And the art on it is gorgeous. I have seen snippets of the art, but oof, so beautiful. Hey, Johnny Kid. Thoughts on Telltale's Batman series? I'm of the opinion it's shit. You know, I'm not, I know this is going to sound blasphemous, but I'm not that crazy about the Telltale games. I'm just not into it that much. I did Walking Dead Season 1 for Telltale games, and I thought that was really fun. And then I just fell off. It's just not my bag. I don't like that stuff. I have been playing Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is bad ass. So good. I did that. I got my fiance the Skyrim remaster. It looks great. But yeah, that's, as far as gaming, that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've been doing that, and I've been doing XCOM 2. Who is your favorite family in comics? Mine is the Flash. Morning, Manga. My favorite family in comics is the first family in comics, the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is awesome. Love the Fantastic Four. I'm trying to get this junk that I've got in my system out of me, so I'm drinking a lot of water. You've been playing Battlefield. I've heard good things. I've heard good things of the new Battlefield. Yeah, for those of you that haven't been watching the stream, haven't been watching the live stream, we've been pimping out Irredeemable. And Irredeemable is essentially what happens, like I've said 1,000 times, when Superman just loses his mind. It's not Superman. It's a character called the Plutonium, but he's pretty much Superman. And he just goes apeshit. He loses his mind, and he starts attacking the world. And he starts attacking his friends and things like that. It's really interesting, and it's a cool examination of the character of what would happen when Superman, if Superman decides to just, you know what, I'm done. I'm snapping. I don't want to save the world anymore. I'm done being this caretaker. I don't want to deal with it anymore, so I'd rather rule it. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, it's a really fun series. My favorite X-Man. That's kind of a tough question. The popular opinion is always Wolverine. I do like Wolverine a lot. Favorite X-Men. You know what? I'm gonna say Nightcrawler. My favorite is Nightcrawler. Even from a kid, I always loved Nightcrawler, so I'm gonna go with him. Have you read a manga called Hunter x Hunter? The writing on it is pure genius. No, but my cousin, who is huge in manga and anime, always recommends it. He's also recommended me this series. One of the main characters is called Lelouch, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life right now. He says it's a fantastic series. Morning, man. Top five Image and Vertigo comic series. Top 5 Vertigo series would be Preacher, Sandman, Alan Moore, Swamp Thing, Y the Last Man, and that's 4. I'm trying to think. Unknown Soldier. Code Geass. That's the one my cousin always recommends. Yes, my cousin always recommends Code Geass. He says it's incredible and it's the perfect examination of what happens when absolute power corrupts absolutely. Have you read Marvel's The Champions? If so, is it any good? I have not. I'm making my way currently through Full Metal Alchemist, even though I've already seen the anime. It's still really good to go through and read the series because I just bought the box set, and I'm going to be doing a preview video of the whole box set. It should be up tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, but it's a beautiful little box set. It's huge. I have nowhere to fucking put the thing. Do you have any new hardcovers, upcoming releases that you are looking forward to? Yes, in fact, I do. This week, we are getting War of Kings Omnibus. And I lucked out so perfectly in time-wise because I just bought Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest. I was able to get Annihilation for $125. That is cover price. And I was able to get Conquest for $50. So I got both books for $175. An amazing deal. You don't find that anywhere. So it just came in the mail yesterday. Perfect condition. Shout out to the Omnibus group. Awesome. I was so happy when I picked it up. So I'm going to be picking up War of Kings this week. I'm going to pass on Absolute Batman. I was thinking about getting it simply for the purpose of review. But, you know, money is tight right now, so I can't do that. Oh, Transmetropolitan. Yeah, I blanked on that. Yeah, Transmetropolitan would probably fit in number 5. Yeah, manga. I picked up the box set. It was on eBay, and I picked it up for $100. Somebody gave me a sweet deal on it. Have I read the graphic novel Breath of Bones? No, I have not. Do you want to read the Dark Tower novels in preparation for the movie? I do. I've read the first one, The Gunslinger, and I never bothered reading anything else. The Gunslinger is really good. It's a really great setup, and as a standalone story, I thought it was perfectly fine. But I know he does do a lot of other things, and a lot of stuff that comes in later volumes of The Gunslinger happens, of Dark Tower happens from that book. I just ordered the first 2 omnibuses for Amazing Spider-Man. Great deal on in-stock trades right now. Really? I'm going to have to check that out. I have the first 2 volumes, but it's always good to kind of put that stuff out there for people. Have I been reading The Flash and DC Rebirth? I think it's one of the best books they've got right now. The Flash and DC Rebirth is so good. It's so great. Joshua Williamson is killing it. It's such a fantastic read. The whole concept of Godspeed, the whole concept of Barry Allen trying to shepherd in different people with powers, it's such a great concept, man. I'm in love with that book right now. With the exception of Man Without Fear, what Daredevil story would appeal to someone like me who loves the Netflix show? The entire Brian Michael Bendis saga would appeal to you. Simply because Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil has that same tone that you're looking for if you're a fan of the Netflix series. Now, if you're not a fan of a super dark tone, you can go with Mark Waid's, but Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil is definitely the place to go. You could jump into it without really any previous knowledge of the characters or any previous knowledge of the villains and things like that, It does help that you have that knowledge, but it's not necessary. I always tell everybody that when the order for you to start with Daredevil is you start Frank Miller, you go Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is, if you want to, it's not a mandatory thing. You go Frank Miller. If you want Kevin Smith, then you jump into Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker, Mark Waid. Those are the runs you want to get you a good foundation of Daredevil. Let's see. Hey man, just wanted to say love your Old Man Logan review, but I also wanted to know if the other stories after Mark Millar are worth reading. I haven't read the other stories of Mark Millar's Wolverine run. That's something I need to do. The binding does suck. That should be noted. Yes. The binding for the Ultimate Collections for Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil is horrible. It is garbage. But it's probably your best way to read the stories right now. It's probably the most accessible way because the omnibus is out of print, and for some reason that I don't understand why, Marvel decided to reprint Ed Brubaker's omnibus before Brian Michael Bendis' omnibus. Makes no damn sense when you think about it because Brian Michael Bendis' omnibus leads into Ed Brubaker's omnibus. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But you know what? I've stopped trying to make sense of Marvel's collected edition department. I know those guys, they work really hard and they provide us with a lot of good content, but sometimes I'm like, this makes no sense. Why are you putting this out before this? We're seeing this again with the War of Kings omnibus. Why are we getting a War of Kings omnibus when in May we're getting the prelude to War of Kings omnibus? So it doesn't really make sense. The order, the only thing that I can understand, the only thing that I can make sense of it is that they announced the War of Kings omnibus, and then this is a rumor that I heard, by the way. They announced the War of Kings omnibus, and then they went onto the Marvel Masterworks forum on Comic Book Resources and a lot of other places online, and they said, well, it's great that you're releasing a War of Kings omnibus, but where's the prelude stuff? Where's the stuff that leads in between the Annihilation Conquest and the War of Kings? There's a lot of material there. So they decided last second, go, oh shit, let's put out an omnibus for this because there's a lot of high demand for it. That's my 2 cents on why that is so messed up, because you're getting War of Kings now, but you're not getting prelude to War of Kings. And then after War of Kings, you're getting Realm of Kings. And then at the end of May, you're finally getting the War of Kings prelude. It's a giant mess. It's such a giant mess right now. In fact, now I gotta wait till May to read the story in order. That's what I think it was. I think that they saw the demand for the prelude stuff and they went, oh shit. So they what they're gonna do, what they did was, you know what, we'll put it out later on in the year. We have our printing schedule set. We can't go back on it. Could I recommend some Wonder Woman comics? Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman is good. His new, it's good before Rebirth. I gave up on the Rebirth Wonder Woman stuff. It was a bit too preachy for my taste. It's not something that I like. I just like to read comics because they're fun. I don't like you beating me over the head with a message. Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman pre-Rebirth is good. George Perez's Wonder Woman is supposedly amazing. And I love Brian Azzarello's take on Wonder Woman. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. It's essentially God of War Wonder Woman. It's a really good take. And the art is gorgeous on it. I plan to get the absolute for that. I've been cutting back on picking up singles, and gotta say, it's not easy going cold turkey. It's so hard waiting for collections and singles still available. I was the same way for a while until I realized, you know what, I have so much shit to read. I have so many hardcovers, so many trade paperbacks, so many collections to read that let me get through this. And by the time I get through this, most of the stuff that I want to read in singles is already being put out in trade paperbacks or hardcovers. So that helps me out. Could you please do a hard to start reading Green Lantern? Dude, all you have to do is pick up Geoff Johns' run. Geoff Johns' run is the place to start reading. Geoff Johns' run is the place to start reading Green Lantern. You don't need anything else. You just pick up Geoff Johns' run. It's the best run of Green Lantern that's ever been published, and go from there. Yeah, God of War Wonder Woman. It's really cool. It is really good. What what I like about Brian Azzarello's run is that he expands upon the pantheon of the different gods. He's got Hades, he's got Zeus, he's got Apollo, he's got all these different gods involved in it, and she interacts with them, and it is so awesome. It's so much fun, and the art is just incredible. It's such a beautiful book. So I recommend that if you want to get into Wonder Woman and you want a more modern day badass take on her, read Brian Azzarello's run. I know there's a lot of purists out there that they are not a fan of Azzarello's run on Wonder Woman simply because he does make a lot of changes, especially regarding her origin. But I love it. I really do love it. As somebody who's never really been too huge into Wonder Woman, it was a perfect place for me. Is DC going to do trade paperbacks of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern omnibus? I doubt it. I mean, no. You know what? I take that back. I don't doubt it. Simply because DC's been reprinting everything Jeff Johns that they get their hands on. We're getting a Teen Titans Ultimate Collection style book next year. We're getting a lot of that Jeff Johns stuff being reprinted simply because Jeff Johns is their golden boy. So I wouldn't put it past them. If you don't want to read the omnibus, maybe hold out until next year and see what the feel is. You know, we might be getting some Ultimate Collections and stuff like that. What I want to know is if we're going to get the Green Lantern Corps stuff reprinted, because a lot of that stuff is massively out of print and hard to find. Have I read any of the DC Earth 1 graphic novels? If so, what's my favorite one? My favorite DC Earth 1 graphic novel has to be the Batman series. That's written by Jeff Johns. Really good. Bendis' run is probably, you know, there are days where it's Bendis, there are days where it's Wade. It depends on the mood that I'm in for. If I'm looking for more of a lighthearted type of run on Daredevil, then Bendis' run isn't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Wade's run. Now, if I'm looking for more of a crime noir, hard-boiled, you know, crime story, basically, then I'm going to go with Brian Michael Bendis' run. Yeah, and Rucka, I love Rucka's writing. I really do. I think Rucka's a great writer. He's fantastic. But I wasn't a fan of him retconning basically everything that Azzarello did in his Wonder Woman run, simply because I think Azzarello, he changed things. He changed a lot of things. He introduced a lot of interesting concepts, and he introduced a lot of really cool shit. And now we're back to square one because Rucka doesn't feel that it's appropriate for Wonder Woman to be these things and to have these things. And I'm like, okay, you know, I get it. I get it. You're the guy that writes women in comics, that writes strong women in comics. I understand that. But it's not something I was crazy about. What do you think about the characters like Duke in the new Batman Rebirth? I think it's a way of kind of shoehorning in a new character into Batman. Not a fan of Duke. I don't hate him. I think he's an interesting character, but they really haven't done much with him. It's kind of like Simon Baz. They really haven't done much with these minority characters that they've introduced, simply because, you know, they are trying to broaden their horizons and they are trying to appeal to a lot of different demographics. And they're introducing a lot of minority characters, and I think that's really fucking cool. That's really interesting. I like that they are doing that as somebody who is a minority. But you got to do something with them. They're not really doing anything with them. Now, they've just started doing things with Simon Baz and Green Lanterns that I think is really good. I think that's a really great series. And I think if you're looking after a place that Jeff Johns finished up, if you're done with Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, jump into the Green Lantern series right now. It's really, really good. And they are doing a lot of cool shit with the character of Simon Baz, who was shelved for a long time. Thoughts on the Charles Soule run on Daredevil? I'm going to speak blasphemous right now. I know a lot of you guys are going to probably hate me. I haven't read it. I have not read Charles Soule's run on Daredevil yet, simply because I'm waiting for a nice little hardcover collection of it, and then I'm going to be reading it. Hey man, are you aware that you have some followers from Mexico? If so, what's your favorite Mexican food? I am not, you know what? It still blows my mind that I have people from all over the world that they watch my stuff, that they, are fans of this little channel that I'm doing right now. It's still like, because I'm not a comic historian. I'm not Comics Explained or one of those guys that have a huge following or anything like that. I'm not one of those guys. I have a small little niche market and I'm happy with that. I really am. But it's just like mind bending when somebody says, "Hey, I'm watching you from Australia. I'm watching you from Brazil. I'm watching you from Mexico," or something like that. I'm like, holy shit, there are people around the world that actually give a damn about this stuff. Hey, from Brazil, man. Awesome. Spain. Wow. Yeah. Like it's crazy. You guys are telling me all these places you're from, and I'm like, holy shit, this is really crazy. Love jujitsu, by the way. I love Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I am a student of jujitsu. So, and acai. Love acai. Berlin. Wow. Let me catch back up. Hold on. What's my favorite Mexican food? Ooh, chimichangas. Chimichangas or enchiladas? Have you played the campaign in Titanfall 2 yet? Thought it was an okay campaign. I'm playing through it right now. It's a really good. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun. I love the dialogue between the main character and the Titan. I've been enjoying that a lot. I can't wait to dive into the multiplayer. Let's see. Let me go back. I'm going back, guys. Hold on. You guys are spamming me with the places that you're from. From Australia, from Canada, from England, from Australia. Wow, we got two Australians in here. I've always wanted to visit Australia. I've wanted to be there for a while. And me and my fiance, we want to go there. How are you in Canada and Ireland at the same time? That is my question. I mean, I'm not great with maps, but I'm pretty sure they're like different places across the world. Who is my favorite artist other than Darwin Cook? If we're going to go classics, how I do it is that I divide it because I can't just have one. I have classic and I have modern day. Modern day is definitely Darwin Cook. Classic is definitely has to be, you got to go with the king, baby. Jack the King Kirby. Israel. Wow, respect. Be safe out there. I love food, muchachos. You should all watch Joey's super cool food reviews. P.S. I'm a fake channel. So this is what this is why I like doing the live streams so much with you guys, because I get to interact with people from all around the world. And the fact is, it's a small channel, so I'm able to do that easily. I'm able to interact with you on a more personal level. Now, as the channel grows, that's going to be a little bit harder, but it's going to be a while before I'm going to be at a level like Comic Historian or Comics Explained or anything like that, or even Comic Pop. I mean, I'm just cracking over 6,000 subscribers right now. I'm well on the way to 7,000 now. Really excited for your Full Metal Alchemist video. It's going to be a while. There's 27 volumes of Full Metal Alchemist. I've been toying around with the idea, I'm not 100% certain about this, of doing a weekly rundown of each volume of Full Metal Alchemist that I read. That's a lot of extra work on my part, and I don't know if the audience would be there for it, but I really am enjoying so far what I've read of Full Metal Alchemist. I mean, it's pretty. If you've seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, then you know it's basically the same thing as the manga. They pretty much took the manga and they translated it to Brotherhood. And I haven't seen the original Full Metal Alchemist. I've seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So for me, it's more of a retread of reading through the story and seeing what little changes they've made and things like that. I still love it. I'm obsessed with Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, Thursdays does get nuts. Your channel is more interactive than the live streams on Thursdays. I love both streams, but Thursdays gets nuts. I love the live stream on Thursdays. The live stream on Thursdays is more of bouncing off of other people, of Riley, of Jess, and everything like that. And the Sunday stream is more this. It's more I'm interacting with you guys on a one-on-one. We don't really get that on Thursday. It's just the nature of it. How does the manga compare to Brotherhood? The manga, well, here's the thing. Originally, there was Full Metal. They did Full Metal Alchemist as a manga. Then I believe it was. I know I'm going to get the dates wrong. In 2004, I believe they did Full Metal Alchemist, and they diverged heavily from the manga. And in 2009, for a number of reasons. One, because in 2004 she didn't finish Full Metal Alchemist yet, so they diverged the story in different ways. Now in 2009, when they decided to reboot and do, it was 2009, 2008, something like that, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, what they did is that they looked at the manga and they pretty much directly translated that into Brotherhood. So if you are a fan of the manga, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is essentially the manga. It really is. Like, I'm reading through the first volume right now because I never read the manga before watching the TV show, and I'm like, wow, this is legitimately just straight up the manga. That's what it is. Have I thought about doing a separate manga channel? I haven't, simply because manga, as popular as it is, and it is very popular, would cost me a lot of money. And I don't have that much money in between right now. You know, Patreon can only cover so much, guys. Okay? Yeah, like Patreon covers a lot, but it only covers so much. And mangas they get expensive. Tips for new Omni collectors with regards to choosing what to buy, mostly when prices can change from one day to another, and with worrying about books having limited runs or going out of print. My advice is, if you want an omnibus and you want it day one and you want it right away at the best possible discount, you wait for the week up. And what I mean by that is that In Stock Trades typically has their omnibuses, hardcover, special editions the week that they're released at 50% off. Jump on it that week. You know, you jump on it that week, you get the best possible discount. And if you jump on it in the first few hours, then you should be fine. And you get your book for a price that, you know, you're going to be happy with. Like this week, we are getting the War of Kings omnibus. I'm telling you right now, I am going to have my phone on me, and when 3 o'clock hits right off the bat, I'm going to refresh In Stock Trades this page, and I'm going to pick up War of Kings. Simply because a lot of that cosmic stuff, you run the risk of it getting out of print, like Annihilation Omnibus did. You run that risk. Now, it's interesting because Annihilation Conquest is still very much in print. Annihilation isn't, but Conquest is. So we'll see how long that goes. You can never really predict these things. It's impossible to predict when something is going to go out of print. Now, if it's a direct market variant, chances are that's going to go out of print before the standard cover, simply because you've got resellers and people that go online and sell things and all that other stuff. Manga I would like to read is Fist of the North Star. It looks pretty damn awesome. I've heard good things. Yes, by the way, guys, sustain the industry. Please, just buy manga. Buy manga and buy the anime. Like, I know it's easy for you to go online and for you to just read Full Metal Alchemist and for you to read whatever manga that you want to read online. But guys, really sustain it. These guys work their ass off. You know, they work their ass off to provide good stuff. And, you know, I was curious because I wanted to read Full Metal Alchemist, and I went online and I typed in Full Metal Alchemist online read or whatever. Within 2 seconds, I could have read the whole series. I was like, wow, it's that easy. But you know what? I was like, you know, I want to actually do my part, and I ended up buying the box set. Yeah, In Stock Trades isn't an option for a lot of people in Canada and overseas, and that stinks that you guys don't have that option. I'm not seeing the Preacher Show yet, but I'm considering getting the Blu-ray. Would you recommend reading the comics before the show? Absolutely. Absolutely. The comics and the show are completely different. You should be fine doing both, but the comics are so much better. Where should I start with the Fantastic Four? Kirby or Hickman? If you want more of a modern day take, Hickman. Hickman's run is so great and it's so easily accessible, you don't really need to know much. Now, if you're a fan of old school comics and a lot of dialogue and things like that, like myself, and a lot of exposition heavy stuff, you read Kirby. What do I think about people reading CBR files? um, that is a bit of a loaded question in the sense that I would be calling myself a bit of a hypocrite if I said you shouldn't do it, but at the same time, I understand you should sustain the industry. And what I mean by that is that I got really into comics simply because a friend of mine may or may not, to avoid problems, may or may not have given me a flash drive with a bunch of Walking Dead comics in it. So for me to say no, you should never read, CBR files. You should never be reading comic book files that are downloaded off the internet. It would be kind of a hypocritical thing for me to say. Now, as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more into the industry and I see what's going on with comic books and manga and in the industry as a whole, I'm very much kind of against it, but it's hard for me to explain. I'm very much against it simply because I think you should be helping out the industry as best as you can. You should be buying manga, you should be buying books, but at the same time, CBR files are a great way to introduce people to manga, to comics, and things like that because it helps them get into it. And people like me, when they see things going, so when they see how much the industry needs help, they go, "Oh shit, I really like this. I really want to support it." Then you have the people out there that are just like, you know what, fuck this. I just want to read a whole bunch of stuff that's free. So I do see both sides of the coin. And it's not I don't think it's as black and white as a lot of people try to make it out. Or you could read a review. Yeah. I only go online to get reviews for comic books. I like to know that I'm getting my money's worth when I pick up collections. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think a lot of publishers, they're trying to cut back on privacy. Wow, on piracy by making things more accessible. You have the Marvel Unlimited app, where you get a whole shit ton of Marvel's catalog for I think it's like $10-12 a month, and you're getting pretty recent stuff. Everything up to like about 6 months ago, you are getting. So if you want to go and read Hickman's Fantastic Four, if you want to read Secret Wars, or you want to read Rick Remender's Punisher or something like that, you go to Marvel Unlimited and it's there. Yeah, and for me, I read a lot of things in digital, but for me, there really is nothing that beats the feel of paper and beats the feel of you actually having a physical copy of something in your hands. Simply because I'm just a sucker for that stuff. I like that stuff. But at the same time, space is at a premium. Like right now, I have a Full Metal Alchemist box set, and I have no fucking clue where to put the damn thing because it's so fucking huge. I haven't read Berserk. Everybody keeps telling me to read Berserk. Is there a Berserk box set? Or is there a cheap way of reading Berserk without pirating it? Because I've been dying to read this series. Everybody's like, you gotta read Berserk. Berserk is fucking incredible. It's one of the best mangas out there. Yeah, Berserk I've heard is really dark. I'm wondering what a full run. How many volumes are they're still writing Berserk, aren't they? How many volumes of Berserk are there right now? Because I know that they're redoing an anime pretty soon of Berserk, and I'm not entirely sure when that starts. Never gone digital, but what's the best app to sustain the industries and read the old series? If you're talking about Marvel, the Marvel Unlimited app is your best bet. That is the best bet that you can get. Now, DC hasn't jumped on that bandwagon yet. Neither has Dark Horse, neither has a bunch of other publishers, but for like $10-12 a month, you get a whole bunch of Marvel's back catalog. And I mean a whole bunch of it. 38 volumes currently, but 37 have only been translated. Okay, so it's not too bad. I could see myself picking up a whole bunch of that stuff. The anime is awful. Don't watch it. Really, I've heard the opposite. I've heard the anime for Berserk is absolutely wonderful. Huh. Wow, that's interesting. I felt the same way about the anime of Trigun. I thought the anime of Trigun was good, but I love the manga a lot more. What's your favorite horror movie? I accidentally sent this message without finishing the question. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You read Berserk up to volume 16. It's pretty good. Huh. The 1997 anime of Berserk is legit. Mr. Johnny Kid, anime is crap. I disagree. I urge you to watch Cowboy Bebop. Watch Cowboy Bebop and come back to me. He's referring to the new Berserk 2016. However, the 1997 Berserk is the best anime of all time, in my personal opinion. Oh, so watch the 1997 anime. Okay. What time is it over here? It is 8:47. I'll be on for probably about another 10, 15 minutes. Have I read Monstrous? No. Monstrous is getting a lot of really great praise from people. Everybody's saying you got to read Monstrous. It's incredible. I'm like, wow, okay. As it's Halloween tomorrow, are there any horror comic recommendations? Dude, we did a whole show on Thursday about horror comics. Go watch that. But off the top of my head, oh man. Go watch the live stream on Thursday. We did a whole bunch of recommendations on there. It was just dedicated to horror comics. Off the top of my head, there's Walking Dead. There's Goon, if you're looking for horror comedy. There's Hellboy. There is... what else? What else is out there? Afterlife with Archie. A whole bunch of great stuff. The whole Berserk anime is full of awful CG. I've seen better looking source film animations on YouTube. Witches. Witches is a great horror comic. Your uncle bought you Berserk when you were 12 years old? Oh my god. That is terrible. Wow. I can't believe your uncle bought you that when you were 12 years old. So the Berserk anime is doing well in Japan, but the general consensus is that it's crap. That's interesting. That is, wow, that is a horrible. I'm sorry, man. That's kind of a horrible uncle for him to buy you for him to buy you Berserk. Zombie Marvel is another one. Let's see. Since tomorrow is Halloween, horror comics. What else is out there that I may have missed out on? Uzumaki. If you're into manga, and Riley recommended this on the Thursday live stream. If you're into manga, Uzumaki is the great way to go. Uzumaki is so good. It's so good, but it messes with you so much. There's also Black Hole, which is really good. And essentially what Black Hole is that it tells a story of what happens when these teens, they go out in this field, they have sex, and they catch an STD that turns them into mutations. So like some people will grow like an extra ear or like an extra arm or things like that because it's an STD. It's a really dark and really messed up book, but really good. Have you caught up with The Flash season 2? I love it more than season 1 personally. I've finished season 1. I need to start season 2. I've heard season 2 is a lot better up until the last 2-3 episodes. Then they pretty much shit the bed. Do you prefer glossy paper or matte paper? I hope matte paper for Absolute Preacher. It depends on the book. I think for books like Preacher, just that overall tone and that overall feel, the matte paper works so much better. And I was a little bit just a smudge disappointed when I picked up the Absolute Edition and it was the glossy paper. I was like, ah, man, Preacher's such a book that it deserves that matte rough finish, you know, because of the tone of the book and the overall concept of it. I just think it works a lot better. Hey, don't mock DBZ. I'm still watching Dragon Ball Super. I'm enjoying the hell out of Dragon Ball Super right now. Actually, well, God, I'm blank. I'm having a brain fart right now, but I'm enjoying Dragon Ball Super a lot more right now. The whole Trunks future storyline and all that other stuff. It's really good. It's been really good. And the whole fight against Black, I've been enjoying that. My boy Vegeta. Oh my God. Okay. Vegeta, my boy, last week laid the ass whooping on Black. that I loved. Oh, so good. As a Vegeta fan, you finally got a break last week. You finally got what you were looking for last week when Vegeta unloaded a can of whoop ass on Black. So good. Oh, I stood up and cheered. I clapped. Have I watched Luke Cage? Yes. I thought it was good up until the very end. Yeah, Luke Cage was good up until about the second half. That's when it started going. That's when it started just not great for me. Did I know there was a Berserk King? Yes, I've heard mixed things. I've heard it's not that great. But yeah, that whole fight last week with Black against Vegeta. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. As a Vegeta fan, oh, so great. You thought Luke Cage was too slow? Really? I thought Luke Cage was paced perfectly up until about episode 6 when the whole Cottonmouth thing happened. Not to give spoilers away, but after that, it just went boom. It just tanked for me. I wasn't that crazy about the ending of it. And the whole fight and the whole thing at the end where he's fighting basically a guy in like a Power Ranger suit, I was like, oh, this looks terrible. Berserk 1997 is very stiff, so you might as well read the manga. I want to read the manga. I want to read Berserk, but I want to actually have the series. Do I think Daredevil Season 3 will do Born Again story? Yes. I think that's where they're going to head. It has to be. It has to be Born Again. They've set that up so well with the end of Daredevil Season 2. It's got to be Born Again. I agree Daredevil is the best Marvel Netflix series. I am super hyped for Iron Fist. I think if there is a series that is going to rival Daredevil, it's going to be Iron Fist. Because Iron Fist is so much more of an upbeat character. He's more accessible for a lot of people. And some of the things that I've been hearing and reading online, it's like, yeah, we're going to be more not necessarily super lighthearted, but the tone is going to be more upbeat with Danny Rand just because of the character is inherently that much more upbeat than Daredevil. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Iron Fist. Plus, you know the choreography in Iron Fist has to be just on point, has to be at a certain level because he's a martial artist. I was thinking about buying 3 Batman Absolutes. Morrison and Snyder. Do Absolutes retain good resale value? Absolutes are, here's the thing about DC Absolutes. DC tends to actually keep them in print, and when they go out of print, it's very rare that they have a high demand. Now, you do have the rare exception where you've got like a Planetary Absolute, where those 2 Absolutes for Planetary are ridiculously expensive right now in the reseller market. But it's really rare that you get a absolute Planetary situation where absolutes are really hard to find or absolutes are really in high demand. DC tends to be pretty good with their absolutes. They tend to keep them in print for a long time. Hey man, any chances of a Chew Complete review when the comic ends? Yes. In fact, I was planning on doing a Chew review for the Smorgasbord edition, but I just haven't gotten around to it. The review for this week, for those of you that are wondering, will be Superman American Alien. Yes, I finally made it to another live stream from Henki. Question, would you still consider Dark Knight your book of the year, and why? Yes, I would. I would absolutely, simply because it's such an introspective look at not Bruce Timm, excuse me, at Paul Dini and everything that he went through and how Batman actually helped him come through the other side of it. And it's a scathing look at a character. I mean, it's been a while since I've read such a scathing look at a writer, and Paul Dini does not pull his punches on it. It is really, really like harsh, some of the criticisms that he says about himself. He calls himself fat, he calls himself ugly, he calls himself weak throughout that book. It's a really, really, really interesting look at a guy that has a lot of insecurities and was at the time, you got to think about this. When Dark Knight, when the events that took place in that Dark Knight book, happened, they were around 93, 94. This was when Paul Dini and Bruce Timm were at the top of their game. They were doing Batman the Animated Series, which in a lot of respects was considered, and even today is considered, the best interpretation of Batman and the best interpretation of a cartoon ever. So for him to like put out this autobiographical event that happened to him, and for him to just depict it in such a scathing look at himself, it takes a lot of guts. It does. And not only that, but the art. Eduardo Risso kills it on that book. It's such a beautiful book. So yeah, that's still, unless something tops it towards the end of the year, and I don't think there's anything else coming out this year that is going to top it for my book of the year. How often do I do a live stream? Oh, I do a live stream Thursdays with Riley and Jess, and we call that Omni Bros Live. That's a little bit different than this one. We usually pick a topic and we go off on that. Then I do Sunday streaming, which is where, like today, I take questions and I do, interactive things with the fans and things like that in the morning. And at night, I do, on Sunday nights, around 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing live streaming about Walking Dead. And that's just like a 20-minute live stream where we talk about the episode and we interact. So that's going to be tonight, where I'm going to be here. I'm going to be live streaming and talking about The Walking Dead, that second episode. So yeah, hey, I pride myself as being one of the hardest working guys in comics YouTube. So, but it takes a toll, man. Like right now, after I'm done here, I'm gonna go grab groceries. I'm gonna go pick up a few things. Then I gotta come back here. I'm gonna record a review. I'm gonna record a whole bunch of Patreon stuff, and then I'm gonna record the Full Metal Alchemist video. And I'm gonna. It's my day is stacked already. I'm probably gonna be working until about 6, 7 o'clock today. Free Agent is so good. Thanks again, Hardcover. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. If I were to start reading Spawn, where should I start? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a Spawn guy. I'm just not. I haven't read much of Spawn, and I don't care for the character. I'm not a fan of Todd McFarlane, which I know it's kind of blasphemous for a lot of people to say, but I'm just, it's not for me. Favorite Spider-Man movie? Spider-Man 2. Yeah, of course, Spider-Man 2. You think Fantastic Four will leave Fox and finally go to Disney and Marvel? It's possible. It's definitely possible, especially now that the Fantastic Four movies have tanked, because the whole reason we got, you remember that really lame Fantastic Four movie we got probably about a year or two ago? The only reason that we got that movie was because Fox had to rush it out and put out a movie. Otherwise, the rights would go back to Marvel. So they rushed something out, and they got Dan Track. I don't even remember what the hell that guy's name was. They got the guy that did Chronicle, and it was a terrible film. That's the only reason. But do I think eventually we will get a Fantastic Four movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Right now, I think it's more than likely we will. The reason why I'm so excited for Fantastic Four to go back to Marvel is because we will get so many different villains, and we will get so many different characters to come back. Because it's not just the Fantastic Four that Fox has the rights to. They also have the rights to Galactus, Silver Surfer, Annihilation, Annihilist. All these different great villains, they have the rights to them. Doctor Doom. How great would it be if Marvel got the rights to Fantastic Four, and 5 years from now, you get Annihilation, the movie? Oh my gosh. Oh, that'd be so great. Master of Kung Fu is one of the most fun comics I've read in a while. It's so much fun, isn't it? It's such a fun little series. I'm so happy they decided to reprint that stuff. Yeah, it's very hard to get modern Fantastic Four comics. It's very, very hard. A lot of that stuff is out of print, especially Hickman's run. If you're looking for the omnibus, I think the other day I saw an eBay listing for $350 for both Hickman omnibuses. Crazy. Absolute crazy. And guys, don't pay those ridiculous prices. Don't hold out. Either hold out for a reprint or go to the Omnibus Collectors Group. Yeah, so either hold out for that. That's what I'm recommending. Go to the Omnibus Collectors Group or hold out for a reprint. Guys, I'm telling you, the Omnibus Collectors Group is awesome. I just got Annihilation for 120 bucks. Do you know what Annihilation goes for online? It goes for about almost $250. Not only that, I got Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest for $170. That is a deal you can't find anywhere. You just gotta look for it. Hold out. Don't pay ridiculous prices for this shit. Any chance we could get a Priest Black Panther omnibus? I don't think anytime soon. I really doubt we'll get it anytime soon because they're releasing Ultimate Collections right now. Here, for those of you that are looking for it, I'm going to post the link right now to the Omnibus Collectors Group in the chat. There. For those of you that want to join, that's the Omnibus Collectors Group. Have I read Superman Secret Identity? Yes, it's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic read. If you're looking for a great place to start with Superman, yes, read that. Have I read Vagabond? I've read a little bit of Vagabond. The art is great. The art is so fucking incredible. On Shang-Chi, never heard of it until the omnibus was released. Hearing so many good things, why is it so good in your opinion? I did a review of Shang-Chi like 2 weeks ago. It's on this channel. But the reason why Shang-Chi is so good, it's fun. It's classic fun comics, man. If you're looking for a really great martial arts story that doesn't take itself too seriously and it's so much fun, pick up Shang-Chi. If you're a fan of like classic kind of cheesy Bruce Lee, old school movies and things like that, this is, or even the Kung Fu TV show from the 70s, this is your bag. Shang-Chi is so much fun. He punches out a shark. He karate chops a shark and a gator in like 10, in the span of like 10 issues. He punches out a gator and a shark. It's so much fun. What do you think will be or should be the first character to get a solo movie after Infinity War? Man, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to predict. Squirrel Girl. No, not Squirrel Girl. I like Squirrel Girl, but no, not Squirrel Girl. A character that should... Have they announced anything past Infinity War? I don't think they have. Infinity War Part 2. I don't think they've announced anything past that. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head, but they've got plans. They have to know what they're going to do after it. What do I think is the best Superman origin story in a comic book? Good question. Really good question. If you want a really different take on Superman, Superman Red Son is really interesting. It's Superman Red Son essentially, and I recommend this a lot to a lot of people. Superman Red Son basically is what happens when Superman lands in Soviet Russia and not in Kansas during the Cold War. Whew, such a great story. So much fun. I think is Captain Marvel past Infinity War Part 2? Favorite Superman movie? Good question. For me, it's either Superman 1978 or Superman 2: The Richard Donner Cut. Oh, hell yeah. Superman 2: The Richard Donner Cut is my favorite Superman movie of all time. Hands down. And the Richard Donner Cut is so good. What's the goriest comic book you've ever read besides Crossed? You know, I'm not into too much gore. I love horror books. Don't get me wrong. I love myself some horror books. Horror is my favorite genre, but gore, like just pure gore, not really my bag. I have to get back to you on that one. I have to think about it. No, I'm pretty sure Inhumans got canceled. Or at least it was put on the back burner. I don't think they're doing the Inhumans movie anymore. How do I think Marvel will handle the recasting of Captain America and Iron Man? I think Marvel's gone on record and said they're just going to recast. As far as Iron Man goes, where they're taking kind of a James Bond approach, where after so many years, somebody will just pick up the slack and be the new Tony Stark. It's gonna be interesting. They're gonna have to get somebody with a lot of charisma because let's be honest, Robert Downey Jr. in real life is Iron Man. The guy lives it. He really is Iron Man. You just look at him and he's like, yeah, that's not Robert Downey Jr. anymore. That's fucking Iron Man. So it'll be really interesting to see who they get that can embody that character so much. I don't really think I'm trying to think of anybody in Hollywood that could actually do it justice. Man of Steel was my favorite, but it hasn't held up for me. I'm tired of Snyder's style. Man of Steel wasn't terrible. It was just okay. And the Man of Steel gets a lot of shit. You know, especially for the whole Superman killing thing. That was bullshit to me. But the whole I'd say probably the first half of Man of Steel I enjoyed to a certain extent. And I thought, wow, this is actually pretty cool. They're showing a lot of Krypton. They're showing a lot of kind of an introspective look at the character of Superman. You know, it's a different take on Superman. I really am enjoying this. And then you get to the second half where Snyder just gets the CGI machines and he pushes everybody aside and says, let me at the damn thing. And he goes nuts with the CGI. And it's just, oh, God. It's, uh, it just goes downhill from there for me. Hey, have a great day, Atomic Weed. What do you think if when they eventually recast Wolverine, they get Tom Hardy? Hugh Jackman has said that he would love Tom Hardy to play the character, and I agree. Tom Hardy would be an awesome Wolverine. I read Bendis's Brubaker. I read Bendis, Brubaker, and Wade's run on Daredevil. Thanks to you, and I fucking loved it. Thank you. Oh, awesome! That's awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My favorite part of Man of Steel is when he tries flying for the first time. I agree. I like that. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Who do you think will take over the mantle for Captain America, Falcon or Bucky? Personally, in the movies, I would like to see Bucky take the mantle and keep up with the comics. But I could definitely see that with their whole restructuring and trying to get minority characters in more prominent roles, I could see Falcon taking over. But the natural choice is Bucky. I mean, they've teased it even in a few scenes throughout the movies. If you notice that, especially in the first Winter Soldier movie where he catches the shield and he's holding it, it's like, oh come on, you're being such a cock tease right now. You still haven't seen Suicide Squad? Good, don't. Who do you think would be a good choice to play Hal Jordan or another Lantern in a movie? Man, you know what? I was saying Idris Elba for Green Lantern. Oh man, that'd be so good. What are some good what are some good modern Spider-Man comics? Great modern Spider-Man comics. Well, currently Dan Slott's run isn't terrible, but I think he's overstayed his welcome. I think he's been on it just a bit too long for my taste. I think it's time for him to kind of step down and pass that along. You have John J. Michael Straczynski's run, which is really great, really, really great. I recommend you do pick that up until you get about to the Brand New Day, One New Day, whatever the hell that story is, where Aunt May's dying and Mephisto and all that other crap. Up until then, it's a really great run. Other great takes: Kraven's Last Hunt. I always recommend that for people. Any praise or recommendations from Mr. Lapham and his fabulous stray bullets? I have the Uber Alias edition, the oversized trade paperback with like everything, um, and you know what? I haven't gotten to it. I haven't read it. If you had a son or a daughter, how would you call him or her? We're running into that problem right now because I'm having a kid soon. So in a few months, we're gonna have to figure out a name. We just still don't have a name. Guys, I've got about 4 more minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Thoughts on 100 Bullets? I've read most of it, didn't care for it. Was not my deal. What is the best comedy comic that I've read? There's a few. I've read it. Chew is up there. Chew is really hilarious. If you're looking for other great comics, Next Wave Agents of Hate, which was a Warren Ellis miniseries set in the Marvel Universe, is absolutely hilarious and does not get enough love. Superior Foes of Spider-Man is great. Really, really, really great. If you're looking for a great horror comic that you don't need to know anything about Spider-Man, all you need to know is that it centers around his villains and them screwing each other over, that is A-plus material. You got to read that. How is Vision? Haven't read Vision. I'm waiting for a hardcover on it. I've read Jeff Johns' Green Lantern and Core run up until Blackest Night. Would you recommend keep getting them in trades or the omnibuses? I mean, at this point, if you're this far ahead into it in trades, keep going with the trades and hardcovers. Absolutely. Keep going with the trades and hardcovers, and you'll be fine. You're not really missing out on anything other than, it's pretty badass having all three Green Lantern, Jeff Johns' Green Lantern runs as an omnibus on a shelf. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end this. You guys, thank you so much for this live stream. Look out, because there's going to be a lot of other content coming out this week. There's going to be unboxings. Basically, there's going to be a whole shit ton of other stuff going on this week on this channel. So check out all that stuff. You guys, we are this close. We are $15 away from hitting the $100 mark on Patreon, when I will be doing a giveaway, and it'll be some really good shit. It's going to be either an omnibus or a hardcover or trade paperback to one lucky fan, where I will be doing a raffle. All it takes is $1, so check out that stuff. That's going to be found in the description. Please, that is how I keep this channel alive. Check that out. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on all that other stuff. Thank you so much for this live stream. Thanks for your time, and I will see you soon. Love you. Bye.